This is a Best in Climate episode of Earth Feels, where each week your hosts Rose and Christine read to you from some of the best climate-related blogs and articles on the web.
Hey there, it's Rose here with this week's episode of Best in Climate. So, if you've been feeling worn down by the complete cluster blank of the last few months, needless to say, you are not alone. Starting with the urgency of the climate crisis that Christine and I have been covering for the last year or so, followed by the most recent COVID shutdown, and adding to it the murder of George Floyd, which served to highlight racial injustice, which serves to shine a spotlight on economic injustice. Well, we are knee-deep in a transparency, some would say an awakening, that in my humble opinion has been a long time coming. And the urge to turn away, to look for distraction, to be lulled into this sense of complacency, that place that we lived for so long, the urge to go back there is enormous. But if there is a silver lining in this momentous time, and I believe every challenge is an opportunity in disguise, I think we all know that as lovely as going back to, quote, normal, end quote, would be, the trajectory we were on, the world we inhabited, was anything but normal. And so lately, I've been asking myself, where do we go from here? What is the lesson we are meant to learn? And probably, and most importantly, who am I? Who are we being asked to be in this moment? So enter Melissa Wadsworth, the author of today's reading. The first time I spoke with Melissa was at SeaTac Airport in 2007, 2008, 2009, somewhere in there. We were both traveling to a women's conference in Dallas. Although I had seen her at previous luncheons, I had never spoken to her before. But that day I remember her distinctly because she has this blonde curly hair that frames her lovely face. And the sun was hitting it in such a way that it literally formed a halo around her head. She looked like an angel sitting there. So I was compelled to go and sit with her and introduce myself. And that was the start of our friendship. And what I know now was that the universe was definitely talking to me that day. So at the time we met, Melissa was holding workshops with the theme, What You Notice Matters. And kudos to Melissa. I think she knows this, but I want to call her out. I credit her with inspiring me to pay attention to the messages, quote unquote, the messages that the universe is sending to me. Because those messages, and these are my words, those messages are divine inspiration. And maybe you call it intuition, but in any case, it's my higher self, it's our higher selves talking and guiding and leading us. Over the years, I've watched Melissa, sometimes close up and sometimes from afar, morph into an author and now a brilliant landscape artist. When I started my speaker series, Lyceum Live, Melissa graciously flew out to Boston and presented her then newly published book, Collective Manifestation. And we did a repeat of that workshop in Bellevue about a year after. Melissa has a way with words. Today's reading is one of her writings that I have saved in my file folder of inspirational writings. Yes, dork-like, I do have a file folder of inspirational writings that I save for times where I need that uplift. This piece was written shortly after our 45th president, who shall remain nameless, was elected. And it seems really fitting right now to answer that question. Who are we supposed to be? So with her permission, I will read it to you now. And this was actually a newsletter that she sent out to her email list. Dear Radiant Friends, on November 8th, 2016, the office of the President of the United States died. It died in the sense that it represents our social structure as a top-down paradigm. This paradigm of global hierarchy, which had been the organizing power dynamic, the ruling social structure for thousands of years, is dead. What a wake-up call this is. The day after the election, when all illusions that life would proceed as usual fell away, I felt like the ground had given way and I had dropped into a different reality. I even experienced a few minutes of wishful thinking that the reality I went to bed with would be different than what I had been waking up to. This felt especially strange because the day of the election, I felt unusually peaceful, like it was a holiday, a day free from stress and worry. It felt to me as if all was already settled and decided, and the underlying calm was blissful. Yet, as the days unfolded, I began to see how this election outcome was the fire under our collective butts we need to really break through the illusions of top-down power and hierarchy. We are so done with that. Ready or not? You are the power. In your heart, you know that all power lies within you. Within each of us, we are processing the immense power structure change from a top-down paradigm into a bottom-up paradigm. We are beginning to recognize our responsibility to co-create, collaborate, and compassionately commiserate when needed. We are in this together. Either you are waking now or will very soon be shaken of any illusions, parentheses, comfort zones, that the world can somehow right itself by letting others take charge, rule, or boss us. We are done with expecting someone else to make the necessary changes happen or to fix the world for us. It is truly up to us to live as the change we wish to see. Now is the time to embody change and co-creativity. The calm under the chaos. I've often talked about how manifestation is both an unseen and seen process. All that ever comes into physical reality first exists as a sacred seed of inspiration, a divine intention, a blessed opportunity. It comes from within first. I take heart that the peaceful feeling I felt on Tuesday is a good sign. That underlying calm is always present in that space in which we have faith that all will work out. And in that calm is immense power to prevail, persevere, and shift perspective so that we are rightly empowered. I have seen calls for unity that are pretty demanding and insistent that we all process this time of transition in the same way. This is not going to happen. People are not suddenly going to lose all the diverse ways that they prefer to approach life. And this is a good thing. We can set the intention to be one of heart while manifesting and being of service to evolve consciousness in the way that is most natural to each of us. Identify and appreciate your manifesting style during this transition time. First, some people are mental paradigm change makers. Often these are intellectual stewards who are dedicated to creating alternative social structures and bringing about evolved social design blueprints that will take the place of the old social structure now falling apart. There is already much happening in new economies and new heart-based coalitions led by the intention to transform the old social, educational, political structures from hierarchical structures to collaborative and cooperative structures. These are also life coaches and work trainers who help others see their expanded potential. Paradigm change makers are the co-creators of new mental foundations for positive change. Air element. They help evolve our collective thinking. Second, some people are inclined to be bridge builders. These are the people willing to take the first step to talk with someone who appears to represent an opposite view. They will dialogue with the intention of gaining more understanding about alternative perspectives. They are those of you willing to believe the best in people, and willing to initiate conversation, relationship, and programs that support this core belief in the goodness of people and a belief in our commonalities. This includes mediators, therapists, process leaders, anyone who takes a kind and considerate approach to their relationships. These are the co-creators of new relationship emotional foundations for positive change, the water element. They help us collectively evolve emotionally. Thirdly, some people are or will be activists. For these people, nothing less than taking action will do. Marches, protests, and mobilizing. These are our community members who will be the first to show up physically in support of a cause, a belief, an idea, or a group of people. These people enjoy the camaraderie and shared experience that action creates. Here in Seattle, a Women's March is scheduled for January 21st, in unity with the Women's March happening in D.C. on the same day. Just imagine the power of such unified events. Activists are the co-creators of seen physical changes. Earth element. They help us to evolve the effects of our collective actions. And fourth, some people are natural consciousness activators and energy healers. These people understand that all that manifests in seen reality begins in unseen energy. By creating sacred practices, coherent group activities, and global consciousness projects, these people lay the energetic ground for a new unified field. Some people see both the crap that needs to be released, as well as appreciate how to ground new consciousness by holding energetic space for new possibilities to emerge. Higher consciousness activators and healers may be religious. They may be artists of all kinds that inspire others. They may influence the health of various physical systems as energy workers. What they have in common is their ability to act invisibly, which often goes unrecognized and underappreciated for the good of the whole. These are the co-creators of unseen energetic foundations for positive change. The fire element. Of course, within our individual bodies, we all help to ground in mental, emotional, physical, and energetic change. So be gentle with yourself and others as we practice believing in ourselves as the seeds of change from which all creation possibilities emerge. We will no longer wait to see what those at the top will do. This is a huge global perspective change. Take a breath. It will take time to get used to a non-hierarchical paradigm because the outer world is still playing along as if it still exists, but it does not. Trust that you will be inspired to participate in the new blueprint we are co-birthing. It will be enough as long as you are willing to be of service, willing to believe you are built for these changing times, and willing to engage reality from inside out and from the bottom up. Like an amazing plant that keeps forever growing in its love capacity. Keep believing in humanity's growth. I am so thankful for each of you for being a co-traveler on this remarkable life journey. With much love, Melissa Wadsworth. So there you have it. That was written, again, right after 45 was elected, prior to the Women's March, and we know what the energy of that was. I'm not sure how many of you attended that. I attended it here in Boston, as did tens of thousands here in the States and around the world. So that was the always brilliant Melissa Wadsworth, and now you know why I'm such a fan. If you'd like more information on Melissa, I'll include links to her website, her beautiful landscape art. I have a couple pieces hanging in my foyer, her writings, etc. on earthfeelspodcast.com. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time. Bye-bye. That's this week's episode of Earth Feels. Special thanks to singer-songwriter Kristen Hoffman for generously allowing us to use Song for the Ocean. Thanks for listening.
Don't forget, subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss an episode. Catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Children of the earth, I'm calling out. There's a mission for you and for me.